Look, let me hit you with something real right off the bat. You've got one shot. One. This isn't a dress rehearsal, or you're not coming back as a dolphin or a tree or whatever nonsense people comfort themselves with when they're scared to go after what they want. You've got this one life, and the clock's already ticking. Every second you waste caring about what your mom thinks, what your friends think, what strangers on the internet think, you're losing. I don't care if you're 18 or 58. It's not too early, and it's definitely not too late. You can rewrite the script any damn day you want. You hate your job? Quit. You're stuck in a relationship that's draining the life out of you? Walk. You've had this business idea in your head for 5 years and you're too scared to post your first video or make that first call? That's on you, not the algorithm, not the economy, you. The number one thing killing people today is regret. Not cancer, not heart attacks, regret. Regret is when you're 90 years old and you're looking out the window thinking, damn, I had so much time and I wasted it playing it safe. You know how many people are sitting on ideas, dreams, and talents because they're afraid of looking stupid before they look smart? You think people clapped when someone started posting daily vlogs or selling sneakers out of their trunk? No, they laughed until they didn't. You know why most people don't win? Because they're addicted to other people's opinions. Let that sink in. They're running around living someone else's version of their life. Parents, teachers, old friends, they all had their say. And you just listened because it was easier than owning your truth. But guess what? No one's gonna live with your regret but you. And then get back up and do it again. No one cares. And that's liberating. You're the one who's making it heavy. Stop negotiating with yourself. Stop delaying. Stop pretending you've got time. You don't. Your life is right now, right this second. So if there's something you've been dreaming of, some version of you that you know exists deep down, it's time. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. One life. No regrets, period. Let's strip it all down. You've got one life, not two, not a backup, one. The moment you truly internalize that, not just nod your head, but feel it in your bones, everything changes. Because suddenly, you stop playing around. You stop living like there's a safety net for your time. There isn't. The biggest lie society sells is that you've got forever. Take your time, they say. You've got plenty of years ahead of you. That's the fast lane to mediocrity. That's how people sleepwalk through life for decades. They keep pushing their dreams to next year, to after the kids are older, to once things settle down. Spoiler alert, things never settle down. The stars will never align perfectly. There's always going to be fear, uncertainty, and noise. People waste insane amounts of time overthinking, overanalyzing, doubting, scrolling, comparing. They sit on the sidelines watching others live bold, messy, fulfilling lives while they play it safe, afraid to make a wrong move. But doing nothing is the wrong move. Every second you spend hesitating, some other hungry person is moving. Someone else is posting the content, starting the business, pitching the client, taking the leap. And they're not better than you. They just stop wasting time. Your life isn't a game where you get extra rounds. You don't get to the end and hit restart. Every day you delay is a day you'll never get back. Think about that. The time you spend binge watching shows to avoid your insecurities, gone. The years you stayed in a job you hated because it was safe, gone. The chances you didn't take because you were afraid of judgment, gone. That's the price. And you pay it whether you realize it or not. What if you started treating time like money? Because it's more valuable, you can always make more money. You can't make more time. You're either spending it or wasting it, period. People who succeed aren't necessarily the smartest or most talented. They're the ones who refuse to let time slip through their fingers. They act even when it's messy, even when they're scared. Especially when they're scared. Look, the truth is uncomfortable, but you can either face it now or live with it later. You're going to die. Not in some poetic, dramatic way, just fact. One day, your shot is over. So ask yourself, if you were to die tomorrow, would you be proud of how you spent today? Or did you waste it worrying about what your cousin thinks about your Instagram? Did you use it to build something real? Or did you spend it debating whether you're ready? No one's coming to push you. No one's gonna give you permission. You have to give it to yourself right now. Because if you don't start treating your time like gold, life's gonna treat you like you're replaceable. And you are, unless you decide not to be. This is your wake-up call. Not next week, not when you feel more confident, not when Mercury's out of retrograde, right now. Use the time, build the thing. Say the truth. Take the step. Forget what you've been told. Failure isn't your enemy, it never was. Failure is just feedback. It's tuition for the life you want to live. You win or you learn. But regret is different. Regret doesn't teach. It haunts. It sneaks up on you when you're older, when the noise quiets down and you're left alone with the echo of chances you didn't take. And that is what really kills people. People don't lie on their deathbeds wishing they failed less. They lie there wishing they tried more, that they had the guts to say what they really felt, that they built the business, went for the career switch, told someone they loved them, danced, painted, wrote, traveled, whatever. You name it, the things that mattered to them. But they didn't, because they were afraid to fail. And now, they trade everything to go back and fail 100 times if it meant they actually lived. See, failure stings in the short term, but it heals. It teaches you something. You fail, you adapt, you grow. You become sharper, stronger, more real. But regret, it builds in silence. It compounds over years. It piles up, heavy and toxic. And by the time you feel the full weight of it, you can't do anything about it. That's the true cost of playing it safe. Most people are walking around not with fear of failure, but fear of looking stupid. And that's tragedy. Because when you fast forward 40, 50 years, no one cares who laughed at you. No one even remembers. The people whose opinions you let paralyze you, they don't even think about you. But the opportunities you let slip away, you remember those. You've got to understand this. Failing in the pursuit of something you love is a win. Losing while chasing your truth beats winning while living a lie. Every single time you tried, you grew, you showed up. That's life. That's how confidence is built. It's not built by getting everything right. It's built by getting knocked down and realizing you can get back up. But what do most people do? They play small. They shrink their dreams to fit their fear. They talk themselves out of things before the world even gets a chance to reject them. And they call it being realistic. It's not realism, it's regret in disguise. Stop trying to avoid failure, instead fear regret. Use that as your fuel. Picture yourself at 80, 90 years old, sitting on a porch, reflecting. Will you be proud of how you lived? Will you smile at the memories of taking swings, of trying even when you didn't know what the hell you were doing? Or will you be bitter, resentful, filled with what ifs? There's a reason the most dangerous emotion is the one that comes with silence. Regret doesn't scream, it whispers, it creeps in. You don't feel it in your 20s or even your 30s, but it builds. And one day you look back and the worst sentence you'll ever say is, I could have. So what do? You go, you take the risk, you bet on yourself, you try, not recklessly, but regret is. The whole game changes. You're not here to play it safe. You're here to live wide open, loud, free, full of mistakes, full of attempts, full of fire. Because at the end of this thing, The only thing worse than failing is wondering what might have happened if you just had the courage to try. Fear failure less. Fear regret more. Let's call it what it is. Most people aren't held back by a lack of talent, money, or time. They're held back by judgment. Plain and simple. They're paralyzed by what other people might think. Friends, family, coworkers, strangers on the internet. They let those voices run their lives. And that's why they lose. It's not that they don't have the dream. It's not that they don't feel the pull to create, build, express, or live differently. It's that they are afraid to be seen trying. Afraid to look like a beginner. Afraid to post something and get 2 likes. Afraid to admit they care about something and risk someone rolling their eyes. So they bury it, they shrink it, they kill it before it ever sees daylight. You want to know how many people are walking around with billion-dollar ideas, world-changing messages, and next-level skills, and you'll never know? Millions. Why? Because they'd rather stay invisible than be judged. They'd rather pretend they don't care than risk embarrassment. But that's the ultimate loss. That's selling your future to protect your ego. Here's the truth. Judgment is unavoidable. No matter what you do, someone's going to have something to say. You could play small and people will still talk. You could play big and they'll talk louder. But what's the move? You stop living for them. You stop giving strangers the keys to your self-worth. Because you can either be judged while doing what lights your soul on fire, or be safe and judged anyway for not living up to your potential. And let's be honest, most of the people whose opinions scare you, they're not even in the arena. They're not putting themselves out there. It's always the ones in the cheap seats doing the loudest talking, never the ones in the fight. That friend who mocks your side hustle secretly wishes they had the guts to try. That coworker who laughs at your podcast can't even speak up in a meeting. They're not judging you, they're projecting their own fear onto you. Once you realize that, everything changes. You stop chasing approval and start chasing alignment. You stop asking, will they like this? And start asking, is this true to me? That's where freedom lives. That's where progress happens. And here's another truth no one wants to admit. Judgment fades. People move on fast. That post you were scared to make, they'll scroll past it in 5 seconds. That video you're nervous to upload, they'll forget it by tomorrow. You are the only one replaying it in your head. You're giving their temporary opinions permanent power over your life. And that's a terrible trade. Imagine where you could be a year from now if you stopped caring what anyone thought for just 1 year. 1 full year of unapologetically going for it. Posting, pitching, creating, sharing, building. You'd be a completely different person. But it starts with killing that fear. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. The people who win, they've been judged, ridiculed, mocked, and they kept going. They knew that the price of greatness is being misunderstood at first. They were okay with looking crazy for a while because they believed in where they were headed more than they feared other people's opinions. So you've got 2 choices. Be liked or be real. Fit in or stand out. Stay quiet and safe or speak up and risk judgment in exchange for a life that actually feels like yours. You can't have both. Most people lose because they fear judgment. Don't be most people. Growth doesn't show up when you're comfortable. It doesn't happen when everything feels safe, predictable, and easy. Real growth, the kind that changes your life, builds your confidence, and unlocks your potential, lives at the edge of fear. It's sitting right there, just beyond what feels manageable, right outside your comfort zone. And most people never get there because they spend their entire lives trying to avoid that edge. We're wired to seek comfort. It's how we survived as a species. But the truth is, in today's world, that same instinct is killing your potential Because comfort isn't where the breakthroughs happen. Comfort is where dreams go to sleep. Where you stay in the same job for years even though it's sucking the soul out of you. Where you never start the business because you're afraid of judgment. Where you silence your voice because you're scared to be vulnerable. And all the while, your future is sitting just a few steps beyond your fear. Waiting. That's the edge. And if you keep pulling back every time you feel it, you'll stay exactly where you are. When a scientist has the first guess based on guessing what the nerves are, you'll stay exactly where you are. You'll only try and fail forever. Here's what people don't get. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is the compass. It shows you where to go. When something scares you, but it's aligned with who you want to become, that's not a stop sign. That's the signal that there's growth on the other side. You want to build self-respect? You want to believe in yourself more? Then do the thing that scares you and don't run from it. Because the more you face those edges, the more powerful you become. The edge of fear is where you find courage. And courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action despite it. Most people wait to feel ready. That's a lie. You'll never feel ready. You're supposed to feel nervous. You're supposed to be unsure. That's how you know it matters. The people you admire, they felt that too. But they pushed through it. And every time they did, their edge expanded. That's growth. And look, facing your fear doesn't mean you win right away. You might mess up, you might fall flat, but that's part of the process. That's where the gold is. Because even if you fail, you've stretched. You've proven to yourself that fear doesn't own you. And once you do that, once you survive what you thought would break you, everything changes. You walk different, you think different, you stop needing approval, and you start needing progress. It's easy to talk about dreams. It's easy to say you want more, but when it's time to step into discomfort, most people retreat. That's the difference between wishing and doing, between potential and results. You grow when you push, not when you pause. You grow when you lean into the fear, not when you run from it. So the next time you feel resistance, that tension, that fear, that inner voice telling you don't, pause. Ask yourself, is this fear because I'm in danger or because I'm about to grow? Most of the time, it's the latter. And that's your shot. Growth isn't a vibe. It's a choice, a decision to move even when your hands are shaking. And the people who choose it consistently, they're the ones who break through. They're the ones who build something real. They're the ones who win, not because they're fearless, but because they had the guts to live on the edge. And that's where life gets interesting. At the edge. Right where the fear begins. Let's get this straight. Your dream has an expiration date. Not because it's written somewhere in the sky, but because you're not going to live forever. And every time you say, I'll do it later, you're lying to yourself. You're delaying your fulfillment. You're postponing your potential. And for what? For comfort? For more time? For some perfect moment that's never coming? The brutal truth is this. Delay is just fear wearing a suit and tie. It sounds responsible, it sounds smart, but really it's just you avoiding the discomfort of starting. It's procrastination dressed up as patience. It's self-doubt hiding behind logic. I'm waiting for the right time. I'll start next month. Let me do more research. Those are the phrases that kill more dreams than failure ever will. You keep thinking you've got time, you don't. Time is the one thing you can't buy back. You can lose money and earn it again. You can lose energy and recover. And it's not because they didn't have the talent. It's because they waited. They waited for clarity, for confidence, for certainty. and they never moved. You think action is risky? Try inaction. Try living with the slow ache of what if. Try reaching 60, 70, 80 years old and realizing you played small, that you lived life on mute because you were too scared to press go, that you had dreams so vivid they kept you up at night, but you never made a move. That's not safety. That's regret in slow motion. You don't need more time. You need to stop wasting the time you already have. You don't need more planning. You need to start doing. There is no perfect moment to start. No golden window where everything aligns and all your doubts disappear. That's a fantasy. The moment is now, always now. You have an idea, act on it. You want to tell someone how you feel, say it. You've got a story burning inside of you, start writing. Don't worry about perfection. Don't wait until the fear goes away. It won't. You'll grow through the doing, not the thinking. Clarity comes from action, not overthinking. And here's the magic of momentum. Once you start, things begin to shift. Opportunities show up. Confidence builds. People take notice. But that only happens after you move, not before. The longer you delay, the heavier it gets, the harder it becomes, and the more likely it is that you'll let it go altogether. You don't need a full blueprint. You need to take the first step. And then the next one. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing something. One message, one email, one video, one risk. That's how it starts. One brave moment that says, I'm done waiting. Because the truth is, everything you want, freedom, growth, impact, fulfillment, it's on the other side of action. Not talk, not intention, action. That's the difference between the life you're living and the life you could be living. So whatever you've been putting off, do it. Act now. Delay is the enemy of fulfillment. And you've got too much life left to live to keep putting it on hold.